This is Economy Watch, what you need to know about New Zealand's economic life today. Brought to you by interest.co.nz.
Kia ora, and welcome to Monday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the International Edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news. American factory orders are rising and setting up a good second half of 2024. But first we should note that the US is on holiday today and tomorrow, their Memorial Day. This marks the start of their summer season, when investors traditionally pull back from markets a little. But to be fair, it is less of a thing now than it used to be. They return on Wednesday, New Zealand time. And this week will be highlighted by the first full budget by our new government on Thursday. In Australia, they will release their CPI inflation data, and inflation data will also come out in Germany and the EU. And there will be Japanese data too, both retail sales and industrial production, and some important guidance from the Bank of Japan. And from the US, they will release an important PCE update, more data on their GDP growth, consumer sentiment and home sales updates. We'll also get official PMIs for China for May at the end of the week. And this is a big week in India. It is the final week in their 6 weeks of staggered regional voting for 543 parliamentary seats. The ruling BJP are expected to win in a system with questionable vote counting integrity. Final official results will be released sometime on Tuesday, June the 4th. In China, isolation by foreign investors is becoming quite stark. New net foreign investment grew a paltry $8 billion in April from March, which looks like a decade low. For a country the size of China, this amount is just a rounding error. In April 2023 was only $14 billion and also considered low. In fact, the total new foreign investment in the first 4 months of 2024 was 31% lower than the same period a year earlier, which in itself was weak. The international de-risking trend is biting hard now as that nation turns inward. And Bloomberg has an interesting story about record withdrawals from Chinese bank deposits in April. 1-year term deposits at China's largest banks pay a record low of just 1.45%. There was a large $880 billion outflow in deposits from banks in April, 1.3% of all deposits, and much of it flooded into bonds and wealth management products. The policy goal is to spur a national economic impetus by making these funds work harder. But China has had significant issues with wealth management products in recent past, so it is a very risky strategy. And there is a history of a lot of people getting hurt and very angry. In Japan, their inflation rate fell to 2.5% in April from 2.7% in March. Their core inflation rate dropped to 2.2% from 2.6%. While these falls were not unexpected, they are the lowest levels since January. And Singapore's industrial production recovered sharply in April after a big miss in March, but it still isn't back to year-ago levels. Across the Pacific, US durable goods orders rose by 0.7% in April from March, following a 0.8% increase in March, and defying market expectations of a 0.8% drop. That makes them a very impressive 7.9% higher than in April a year ago, and augurs very well for their factory sector in coming months. It was mainly driven by strong demand for transport equipment. An updated University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey result for May was released, coming in very much better than the preliminary version, which recorded a drop. Yes, there is still an easing, but only a minor one. And this current level is 17% higher than a year ago. After 3 dour and disappointing consecutive months, Canada's retail sales sparked into life in April with its best rise in a year. But it'll still be only 2% higher than a year ago and less than inflation's bite. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now at 4.47% and up 1 basis point from Saturday. That's up a net 5 basis points in a week. And the price of gold will start today down a minor dollar from Saturday at $2,333 an ounce, and down $85 from a week ago though. Oil prices are down 50 cents at just over $77.50 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is just under $82 a barrel. These levels were $79.50 and $83.50 a barrel a week ago, so about $1.50 less since then. And the Kiwi dollar starts today unchanged from Saturday at just over 61.2 US cents, but a quarter cent lower than this time last week. Against the Aussie, we're marginally firmer at 92.4 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're also firmer at 56.5 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just under 70.6, which is up 20 basis points in a week. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $67,735 and down 0.4% from Saturday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has also been quite low at just on plus or minus 0.6%. You can find links to the articles mentioned today in our show notes, and you can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. If you're one of the many new listeners who have joined us recently, welcome. We appreciate your company. If you enjoy this podcast, can we ask you to forward this episode to one person who you think might like listening? Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.